Hi and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will work on the Licitti new gen battery box, and finally we'll put 280 amp hour batteries, 12 volt, in this giant box. Finally a battery which will provide the power for this new gen battery box from Licitti. By the way, up there's a link to the new gen battery box by Licitti. And Licitti was so kind and did send me a DIY kit for the 280 amp hour battery consisting of 4 cells. Let me show you what that means and give you more input on this one. Now when I'm talking about the Licitti new gen battery box, it's this giant beast. And you might remember I only put in a 100 amp hour battery in my first build. And this time we will work on the Licitti DIY kit. And they sent the entire kit, which includes everything we need, which means the cells, the BMS, tape, everything you need. And also it has the proper size to fit in this little box. Well, little. Since this box comes with an inverter up to 2000 watt, this is an amazing opportunity to provide a sufficient battery, and it's already the size you need. Well, it's actually really big exterior, but also interior wise. It will accommodate 280 amp hour, and Licitti has this DIY kit, which I will show you today, coming in this box. And let's open it up and see what's in it. All right, look at this. Of course, you can see the cells, which I'll get in a minute. There's a packing list included, or part list as they call it. You should check that you have everything in there, but let's go briefly over it, that we do get an idea. So we do have 4 lithium iron phosphate 280 amp hour cells. We do have fiber tape. By the way, everything is nicely labeled with numbers, which you refer also to the part list. Additionally, we do have 1 BMS, which is coming in this little sample, and you can see the bus bars already included. There's the BMS, the wires, there are a couple labels up there and numbers which the instruction will refer to as well. Then we have also those flange nuts. We do have EVA foam, they call it, which has some cutouts here as well. I'll show you later when we do the assembly. And then we do have those epoxy boards, or they call it epoxy resin board, the yellow ones down here. And also we do have, and that's the most important, instructions, 280 lithium battery pack assembly manual. So this manual hopefully will give you an indication on what you need to do, and when you look at the tools, a socket, a scissor, plier, and a voltmeter. And also they have the packing list here, or the part list on this other side. And then we can see they have some instructions on how to assemble it, step by step. And at the end also some pictures on how you have to assemble it, because the important thing is it should at the end fit in the new gen battery box. If you don't follow instructions, you might be ending up not able to fitting it in the new gen battery box. Additionally, they have this page as well. So at the end down here, that's how it should look like, a little box. It says it's a certified energy storage grade lithium iron phosphate prismatic cell, 3.2 volts, 280 amp hour. Then you see a couple of use cases, made in China. On the other side, we have those information about the cell itself, so let me try to read it to you a little bit or give you more information. The manufacturer is Lithium New Energy Technology. And then we have the weight, we have the nominal voltage, 3.2 volts with nominal capacity, which is 280 amp hour normal energy per cell. This information is all per cell. You can see also what's important here, that we have a max continuous charging current from 1C, which is amazing, 280 amp. And the max continuous discharge is 280 amp, a 1C rating as well. That's pretty nice and neat. A cycle life up to 10,000 cycles, which is tested at 0.5C, so only 50%. When you use only 50% of the battery, then recharge it immediately. You have, after 10,000 cycles, a remaining capacity of at least 70% or more. So that's pretty nice. And then we have the above specification of based on temperature, condition at 25 degree. The operating temperature discharge and operating temperature charging. So we'll see what the BMS is capable of later as well. It's hard to see, but this cell here up front this is the 176 amp hour battery, and this is the 280 amp hour battery. So there's a difference in width, or actually in depth. It's a little shorter, a tiny little bit, but it does have the same width. And look at this from this side. You might be able to see there's a difference in size. So I would say we'll get just right into it. Don't want to bore you too much. We'll try to follow the step-by-step instructions, and then we will see what we need. Cells are also labeled. Here's the number 1, right? I mean, they're all ones. I'm honestly really excited putting them together and then putting them to work into the Licitti new Gen battery box. They will be a game changer. They are really, really, really high power. So we'll follow the instructions. First step, we have to align them. I'll do it exactly how they appear in the picture. And that means we have to change the configuration, like so. So we do have positive terminal, negative, positive, negative. I jumped over to step 1. Step 1 is please measure the voltage of each cell, 3.2 volts. Difference should be less than 10 millivolts. So let's see if that's accurate. So let's measure it. Let's start with the first one. 3.026, 3.028, 3.024, 3.014. Okay. This one is a little off, it looks like. Yeah, 1.4. So we are off by, yeah, it's even more. Okay, off by 14 millivolts. And the maximum we should be off, according to the instructions, is 10. So differentiation up here should be less than 10 millivolts. So we have to charge this one back here, just a little tiny bit. But they come pretty close already together, which is really nice to see. And it means there's not a lot to do. The maximum charging for one cell is 3.65, so be aware of that you don't overdo it. The most accurate I can do is probably, I'll do 3.6. And from this battery you have to unscrew those little covers. That's good. 020. Yeah, perfect. All right, we got them. They're all aligned. They're all now within less than 10 millivolts. Step 2. Please arrange battery cells positive and negative correctly. Wrap 4 battery cells together by fiber tape. Fiber tape should be this one, number 2. Fiber tape, and then fix BMS part on the side of battery pack. So you see, step 2 is a combination of different things. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I was looking for one thing I'm missing, not those epoxy boards. They're all here for all sides. What I'm missing is a little insulation in between all cells so they can contract and expand if they need to. Bummer, I don't see that here and I don't have that, so we'll have to go without, because we'll follow all the instructions. Would be great to see it, I think, in an improvement build or something maybe. I haven't done the entire build, so I don't know what else to come, but I'll start with this. By the way, all cells look pretty new, so I have a good feeling about them. You can see it from the side. There's a bigger gap in between this cell and this cell. So just want to give you a clear picture. And that's what I meant with that would be great if there would be some foam board or something else between, which can just absorb this contraction or expansion. We'll take the bus bars away. We will take, let's see, we need to mount it on one of the sides, which means looks like this side is the one they say we need to mount it to. What's missing also here, there's nothing against which can prevent this from overheating, but there is some of those micro foam board or whatever it's called in between here, the cooling fins or the cooling element here from passive cooler from BMS, and underneath and between those ones, so that's at least something. Let's see, so we do have the main negative here, which means, by the way, the positive side of BMS is not connected yet, which should stay like that. Don't do that. I'll go ahead and try to align this. Next would be connecting the negative here. The beam negative goes to the main negative here, the negative connector. Just put on the nut to hold in place for now, not tighten it down. Pretty much it. All the bus bars we received, or almost all. We have the number 6 labeled bus bars. Unfortunately, they're just solid bus bars. There's no contraction option at all, so they're just flat. But, and I have a little insulation, the tube here in between, what you put on, heat shrink. So there's a diagram here which describes how you have to put them on, and then you can see that number 7 should be on the positive side, and it's the last one. So that should go on here, it looks like. So number 7 is here, then we'll continue. And that's very important. Don't rush the step. You do not want to short anything out. I'll take off all those caps. Next one is between cell 1 and 2. There you go. Just the labels. This one, and it's the last one. There we are. So before we put on the nuts, because we also need to connect all the balance leads as well as the temperature sensor. Oh, just realized. Cool. They have a temperature sensor. We'll see what it can do for us. But in theory, we now can use all those flange nuts. So we now will use all those wires we have for the positive wires. And to know which one is which, there's a B plus, they're labeled. There's a 3. Oh, that's so cool. That's labeled. Be careful with touching everything. There's a 1. Oh, that's amazing. So, and when you look at this diagram again here, this one, it's very small, but there's a 1, there's a 2, 3, and there's a B. Yeah, and there's a B plus, and it even shows you the HTC up here as well. So we can see that. So that means I'll follow those instructions exactly. So we do have B plus, goes on, and I will, just to hold in place, put on a bolt real quick, not tightening down, just to hold in place. 3. You can see they have already a different length, so they're limited in where they can go. 3 is here. All nicely labeled. I'm so impressed. B minus. All right. What you can do in the meantime is tightening them down. When you do not have an isolated ratchet, be careful. Don't touch anything. Don't drop anything. And it looks like those flange nuts are all 10 millimeter. So I connected label number 1 here. I connected label B minus here. I connected label 2 here, label 3 here, label 4 here, and the temperature sensor will just go in here. So I will use some tape for that, and I have to make it a little more pretty. But first I want to tighten it down. And by the way, this one is going up there, so you do not want to interfere with that too much. And hand tight, but not too tight, please. want to use a little tape to glue the temperature sensor in. I want to have them in between the two cells ideally. Okay, what we do next, before we continue, we'll plug in the wire down here. So it does already align almost. I hope you can see it-ish. Plug it in. Hope you can see it a little bit. Negative, that will be the main negative, this will be the main positive. 12.10 volts. That's pretty accurate. Yeah, that's pretty close, I would say. We had 3.02-ish. Nice. So it means it is already a pack which we can use. This is the main negative, this is the positive, the main positive. And to wrap it up, there we go. So we do have number 10 with those holes. So we can just push those holes out, basically. And it should go on here like this, right? So the vents are breathing and able to breathe at all. So you want to align it good. And when you are certain that everything is aligned, the wires are not squeezed in, you have them routed properly on the side, then you can take this adhesive stuff or cover off like this and then put it on. All right. So we now did the step, test connector of 5P wire, we did that. We did step number 10 here, or glue this one on, and now we do this step where we put all the epoxy boards around it. I did not talk about the BMS, but here you can see the BMS, which is interesting. It has a 200 amp rating, it looks like. This model ZP04S008T version 1.3. Okay, let's continue. This little friend, number 4, goes on the main negative, right? I have to double check if that's the right configuration because I need to connect it, but I also need to have space. And therefore you will need a 13mm. And they also give you bolt, split washer, and a nylon nut. And we do have, I believe, 11 should go to the side. Then we have 12 and 13, which have those holes, right? So let's see, I want to use this one on the positive side. I'll use this one on the negative side. And it does line up pretty well, I think. Okay, cool. And then we have 14, bottom and top. How do I start? Bottom, top first? Side first? I'll do the side first, I think. Let's see if we can align it. And all right. That's it. We'll put this one on top. Of course, you could have covered those, right? I didn't. I like the numbers and I want to know what it is. And of course, if you want to, you can give it more edges. So it's good because I have no idea. This is positive here on this side. At least it's supposed to be. Let's do a little test. So we do have, hope you can see it, positive on this side, negative on this side. And it says, oh, 12.10. Nice. All right. Almost done with the build. I mean, the build is done, but now we need to put it into the box and charge it up. Okay, first step is opening the back of the new gen battery box and pulling out the old battery. Okay, so it makes sense, since the negative wire is the longer wire, to have the negative here, which slides in again. And before we do that, let me connect all those straps so it's safe, secure, not wiggling around at all. It's a tight fit, which is nice. The tray is made for this size, so they really thought about it, I guess. At least for this one, it's nice. So, all right, I'll connect the negative side, and we got, so you remember, this little set of bolt, nylon, nut, washer and split washer, so we'll use that one to connect it. I'll reuse this boot. I'll route the wire this way so that it goes along the side of the entire battery. Now you need to slide it in, wiggle it in, and I'll connect the positive side before sliding it all the way. And I'll route the wire this time like this. And the box should be off, otherwise you will get a big spark here. This one in, and this one on the bottom. You want to tighten this down good, and then you can push it in all the way. And use it like this on the side. Perfect. And push it in all the way. This box is way heavier now. All right, let's start the Licitti battery box app, or Licitti app. And yeah, because of my dark mode, but we can see the Licitti battery box here. And we can see, is it the right one? Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, it's still interesting that the app shows 1 amp hour less. Anyways, I guess the calculation is different. So what I want to do, you could change it here on the display. I just like to go in here, tap on the 100 amp hours. We'll correct it to 280, say yes, that's what it is. We'll continue, take everything else here, synchronize to device. And that's it. So, checking in again. What I want to do now is charging this battery at least a little bit, so you get an idea if that is working or not. And also if it shows an accurate charging voltage and amperage. So you can see here on the app, 20 amp, and it's also the same here, 20 amp. So that's pretty straightforward. You can also just give it a quick how much is going in. And when doing that, we can see it is at around 20. Perfect. All right, before I'm using it, I want to charge batteries up to full capacity. And that means there will be a follow-up test on those batteries, of course. But I wanted to show you what else is on the market, and Licitti does offer those 280 amp hours lithium iron phosphate battery pack assembly manual. Sorry, not manual, but this package as a DIY kit, pretty straightforward. And we'll take a look at this in the second video in how they perform actually, if they really do well or not. But therefore I need to charge it up, 280 amp hours, so I'll give my best that this is happening quickly. So that was it for this video. Let me summarize everything a little bit more. There will be a follow-up video about those cells and how they perform with 280 amp hours actually. So that's quite a lot of power in this Licitti battery box. And even though it's a tight fit to put them in, they are designed to fit on this tray and then just push it in. So I want to test it now. I want to give it the entire testing with this box, if it works and performs, but therefore I need to charge it, as you know. So for this entire build, what I would love to see improved on those cells would be, for sure, I want to see those bus bars that they can give a little bit more when the cells need to expand. Also, there was nothing to put in between those cells, basically for unevenness or whatever, or when they bulge, that it is possible to expand and contract. But that's something which I would like to see in a maybe updated version, who knows. So far, the build was pretty straightforward and easy. Luckily, there were just images, a little text, so someone who never did that, they will need a video, they will need to see it, but then with referencing to the video and those instructions, it will work out fine. And So I really like that. Said I wasn't able to do the 176 DIY battery build, but Licitti offered this, and this is amazing because they fit right into this box. As of now, I do not have a link, but I will update my description of this video and put all information in there. I hope that they will provide a link because you want to buy them maybe. And having such a big box, it would be great being able to use such a capacity. One downside, you only have one Anderson connector. But there was a solution. You can use, I have the Red Audio DC outlet, but Licitti also has those outlets, and I think they have two different versions, a small and bigger one. So you can use those. Straightforward, just plug it into the Anderson, then you have even more outlets, which is amazing. The inverter, 2000 watt inverter, needs power. Those batteries are exactly what you need for this type of size battery box. So I'll let you know in the next video how it performed everything, how the batteries are, how the cells are, any issues, any fixes or whatever I needed to do. But thanks for watching. Any questions, just put it in the section below. Like and subscribe to the channel and the video if you like that stuff. Thanks for watching. Cheers!